Did they see the quarterback competition of Nick Foles versus Andy Dalton coming? I say, no, they did not. Based on the fact that Chicago Bears fandom all across this great football-loving nation of ours, Chicago Bears fandom around this globe of ours that we're all spinning on and loving as much football as we possibly can internationally, certainly in the city of Chicago, based on the responses of all of them taking a collective figurative dump yesterday, I will say conclusively, no, they did not see this one coming. They sensed it deep down, figuring out that the GM and the coach weren't the right mix and ownership wasn't pushing them enough. They sensed it. They sensed it would wind up with them wondering, what are we doing here? They sensed it. Now, two things based off of that. That's how we set this up. There's two paths to go. Here's the first one. They tried for Russell Wilson. And that's what you're hearing. You're hearing it first blush from so many of my colleagues on the NFL media group. You're hearing it from other people in the sports news media. Boy, did they try for Russell Wilson. They sure tried. You're going to hear all sorts of rumors and all sorts of reports about how much they were willing to give up. We were joking all last week. It's going to take the Water Tower, the Field Museum. It's going to take about everything plus the kitchen sink and everything from the Blues Brothers to Dr. Richard Kimball's exposure of the RDU 90 gambit. All of it. It would take all of it and then some to make this thing happen. And you're hearing from my colleague, Ian Rappaport, reporting this morning on Good Morning Football, whose co-host Peter Schrager is going to join us in 13 minutes' time to unpack this a little bit more. You heard from him that in the state of North Dakota, again, this is like a Mad Lib, that you keep on filling in proper names that you didn't see coming, like Andy Dalton in the state of North Dakota. Remember yesterday we had Albert Breer on the program, and he said there was a big to-do when John Schneider, the general manager of the Seahawks, showed up at Josh Allen's pro day in 2018. What are you looking at him for? And you got Russell Wilson, and that made a lot of the rumors about there's a rift between the Seahawks and Russell Wilson. There was all those rumblings that were underneath the surface that have now burst into full-fledged open light of day, NFL media light of day conversation that was a big to-do. And then as Albert Breer said, where was he last Friday? John Schneider was at Trey Lance's pro day in North Dakota. Looks like under the darkness of North Dakota where Trey Lance is as hot a prospect as he is.
Oh, yeah.
Not everybody, the national media is not schlepping to North Dakota in the same way that they did to Clemson pro day or that they'll do to Ohio State pro day. Great way to just basically show up and just say, hey, do you want to cough up Russell Wilson? How about you and I have a little sit down, Ryan Pace and John Schneider sit down and have a conversation about Russell Wilson. That's what Ian Rappaport said. And they tried as hard as they might. And as we surmised, Pete Carroll pushing 70. Am I going with Geno Smith this year? Is that what I'm going to do at age 70? I'm going to hit the reset button so we could set this thing up for the future because Russ doesn't want to be here anymore. And I know I can actually fix this with Russ. I'm pushing 70. Am I really doing that? Are we taking Nick Foles back in a trade? Is that what we're doing? Are we going to wait till the Jets maybe cough up Sam Darnold? Is that what we're going to do here? Are we really going to take 3 first-rounders or whatever you're hearing about and plus a couple of players from the Bears, even if it is Khalil Mack? Are we really taking 3 first-rounders that if Russell does what we expect him to do in Chicago, we'll be in the 20s, 3 straight years? Is that what we're going to do, where we have no shot at a prospect at the quarterback position of note over the next few years? Is that what we're thinking of? Oh, pound sand. The sand shall be pounded. And that's, again, another reason why Bears fans are like, why are we going for this pie in the sky for Russ? What are we doing this for? They're not coughing him up. But you're hearing, Bears, we tried. And you got to give it up for them. Question is how's this the plan B? Andy Dalton, that's the plan B. And that's the second thing I want to say on this. Foles is a perfect example, okay, of good guy, veteran good human being on the planet.
He is.
Who got the football gods taking their fairy football godmother wand and placing it on him and saying, we shall give you the opportunity that you will make the most of, and you shall forever be known as a magic carpet rider and a Super Bowl MVP. Nick Foles, you have been bestowed that opportunity, and you have made the most of that opportunity. That's the way you will be known forevermore. So many other quarterbacks who are good guys, good humans, good people deserve that. We can name some of them right now. Alex Smith, boy, would he deserve that. An opportunity that Washington decides we're not going to give you. Ryan Fitzpatrick could get that this year instead with the Washington football team. Just to name a couple, right? You could say the leader of this pack in terms of good guy, in terms of guy who's put all the work in, not only to make himself a quarterback in this league who's won division titles, who's won a lot of football games, who's won the respect of his locker room and his teammates, who's won a lot collegiately and professionally, and has won over also the hearts and minds of fans, not only in his town, but other towns who he put into the playoffs because he does win football games when you least expect him to. And a good guy with his wife putting money in the pockets of charitable ventures everywhere he goes. If there's anybody who deserves that to happen to him, it is Andy Dalton.
Fact. 100%.
And instead, welcome to Chicago, Andy.
Boo.
You know what I mean?
Boos.
Welcome to Chicago. Like, we have no faith in you as a fan base with Khalil Mack's window and Roquan Smith is here and that defense can do this. And, you know, this would be one hell of a story in a football life and also in America's game and also a 30 for 30. This would be one hell of a story that Andy Dalton comes to Chicago and delivers them the championship that they haven't seen since the mid-'80s. But this is a town, as our final two guests of the show will attest, in Ashton Kutcher, here on the 18th anniversary of the first episode of Punk'd, airing on MTV. And Michael Wilbon of Pardon the Interruption, who went on what we say in the business, an epic rant on this subject yesterday. This is a town that is waiting for their Russell Wilson, their Aaron Rodgers, their Tom Brady, their Patrick Mahomes, their Deshaun Watsons, and so on and so forth. Their Drew Brees, who's having a press conference with our colleagues in NBC Sports today to announce his new partnership there. They're waiting for that guy, and Andy Dalton is not that guy. And the Bears organization knows it, and Ryan Pace knows it, and Matt Nagy knows it, and that's why they try to get Russell Wilson. And the question is if you are not equipped, and you know deep down you're not equipped in terms of the first round picks that you're offering, and you're not equipped even with these Pro Bowl players to offer up to go get a quarterback who's already synonymous with his town in a way that Bears fans are dying to have a quarterback synonymous with that town, where a coach who's pushing 70 years of age and Geno Smith's the backup, and they're already out a first-round pick because they coughed it up for Jamal Adams, and they can't, and you don't have the young quarterback to flip back to him. The pieces aren't really there. You are YOLOing like you are YOLOing with there's no YOLO tomorrow. So you need to have something in the top or right or left-hand drawer to pull out that doesn't have the name Andy Dalton on it. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.